I really can't tell you enough how much I love your slides. Okay, you guys. So we are about to be live here on YouTube. So the first thing I'm going to do is welcome everyone to our weekly show. It is Wednesday night. It is 7 p.m. and we are here with Poison Free Malibu. I am so excited about it. So welcome, Joel and Kian.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
So tonight we're going to be talking about rodenticide, and we are going to be talking about what this organization is doing in terms of rodenticide. And we're going to talk about all kinds of fun things, including what we can do. So hold on, get comfortable, get ready, because this is about to be a whole lot of fun. So let me just, I got to look at my screen here, my control room, because if people have questions, they should 100% throw them into the chat, because we totally want to answer your question. So no,
is that all on the YouTube? Because we don't have the YouTube on. We just have
nope. That's why I do. That's why I told you. You just watch out. I am technologically in control here.
Wow. This I have no idea how to do this.
So yeah, so we'll get. Oh, Wendy Gladstone is here. Hey,
Wendy.
So yeah, see, if you say you're here, we will totally call out your name and give you a little party, because we love the people that are here with us. So anyway, let's talk first of all. So you guys, you are running Poison Free Malibu out there on the west side of the LA area. And how did that get started? What was going through your mind when you decided we need to educate the universe about rodenticide?
Well, I could start that off. Basically, we did not have any clear intention of doing something like this. We were reading a newspaper, a local newspaper, the Surfside News, and reading one of the articles there. Thankfully, great thanks to the writers, of the newspapers, because this is how we learned there was a problem, so this is so very important to get the word out. The media is what you're doing, and the media is what makes it all a difference. So we're reading this article, and the article said that a mountain lion had died at Point Mugu State Park, which is our local park here, and died on the trail, which we thought was an odd thing. And they didn't say why. And when we called up the Park Service, we found out that it was due to rodent poisons. So that's when we started thinking, and didn't quite make any sense to us. How does this 150-pound mountain lion die from a animal that weighs less than an ounce,
that they don't even eat?
And so so we started doing research. Joel, basically, he's a great researcher here, and he started pulling papers from the National Park Service, from UCLA, from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and we were just in awe of the percentage of animals that were being poisoned in our Santa Monica Mountains and throughout California. We're talking at the 80-90% level of animals that were tested had poisons in them. So this is when we thought we were going to start alerting people. We have the sources here. The owls and hawks were 92%, bobcats 92%, coyotes 83%, and the mountain lions were the most striking too. Throughout all of California, we're talking about 104.
No. The newest.
Sorry, the newest there was the 201. You want to quote that one?
Yeah, I mean, because of the concerns about mountain lions, the Department of Fish and Wildlife in California did a special study, which was really good. See, most data is sort of anecdotal, where it's people bring in animals that they found either to their local rehab, wildlife rehab or hospital, or to Fish and Wildlife actually. But it's the data is mostly what people bring in. So it's very anecdotal. It's not systematic. But what is nice is that Fish and Wildlife, for the case of mountain lions, did a special 37 county study. 37 counties. That's like really good. And they tested 252 mountain lions in 37. So that's a really important study, more than just anecdotes, from 2016 to 2018. And then they found that 96% had been exposed to poison. But even worse is when you say how many had 2 poisons, how many 3 different kinds of poisons, how many 4, 5, and 6. Like most of them had 3, 4, 5, and 6 different kinds of poisons, which illustrates the fact that mountain lions do not eat mice. They eat the first level predators like coyotes and raccoons, who collectively eat probably dozens of mice, getting more and more poisoned. And then the mountain lion will eat 1 or 2 or 3, coyotes or raccoons. So in a sense, ingesting the accumulated quantity of who knows how many mice with it from how many different sources to get 6 or 7 different products in her. You see?
Yeah.
In other words, they're living in an ocean of poison.
Yeah. It's quite bad. It's worse than you can imagine. It's once you start getting into what's going on and when you see what's going on, because soon thereafter I started to investigate. As I started, I said I didn't know what to do basically, and I thought, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and down Malibu and find out who's selling it and find out who has the boxes and why. Because I'm the boots on the ground kind of girl. I want to see what's going on. I want to find a solution. I don't want no patchwork. I want to see what's going on, why it's happening, and let's find a solution. Okay. We're all about educating and finding solutions to issues. And when I was able to convince the 6 stores here in Malibu to remove the poisons. And that was a big milestone, after talking with the management and showing them the evidence. And so that was great. But then we had to deal with all the bait boxes that were everywhere. Bait boxes are everywhere
This
here
may
in
be worth a
Malibu,
picture.
and everywhere that you'll find behind your shopping mall and in your HOA and in your neighborhood, you will find these black boxes, gray boxes, and different colored boxes filled with poison. And especially where I found them is right next to open dumpsters full of food. So the major problem in the 10 plus cities that I've been worked in is that it was uncontrolled trash everywhere you go. The dumpsters were open, they were overfilled, they were overstuffed. And right next to these overstuffed dumpsters, could we have a picture of that from Malibu?
Actually, Dana, if you could open up our PowerPoint and show it.
Would
you like to do that?
Yeah, you could pick out
it's slide number 10.
You could
if
pick
you like
I
to
can, but you can also, because I made you.
Okay.
I know, but this way you can always,
All right. So
you can keep being host.
Sure, you got to show.
But it's
a
up to
picture.
you, either way.
You got to show a picture. Show
Yeah.
the picture of the dumpster.
Well, let me
opening.
show her the bait boxes first, then we'll do the dumpsters.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the bait boxes.
It's number 10.
Yeah, and so I'm talking about the dumpsters now. You want to talk about the dumpsters?
Okay, here we go.
So here we go. So here's some pictures of the dumpsters.
But they don't see this. See, I was suggesting she do it.
Okay, well, we got to get back.
Okay, hold on. Let me get there.
We get the number 10 is the bait boxes.
Here we go.
10 and 28.
Yeah, so
slides 10 and 28.
So this is what we're talking about. This is the major problem that we've been having here in Malibu, and every other place that I've looked at is this uncontrolled trash. We have issues with the businesses not wanting to order more trash bins because it's more costly for them, so they overstuff. There's problems with unauthorized access. And here in Malibu, where they open up the trash and take out what they want and don't, of course, put the trash back. So we had warped trash lids where they couldn't even be closed because they were so warped. And so what we did here in Malibu is to get rid of we made a lid lock ordinance, which means that the lids must be closed and lockable, so they can't be warped anymore.
You want me to do it?
I need you to do it. Yeah, that's not working. Sorry about that. I
saw
get
that.
many screens going at the same time, and
Okay, you have to allow it. It says host disabled
there you
screen. What's sweetheart?
Put the
I can't. I
dumpster on.
just told you.
now you can.
No, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't present it. I couldn't even find that button.
Right.
Okay, so basically, this is what we discovered, and so to solve this, we've requested a lid lock ordinance where all of our dumpsters have to be not just closed, but actually closed and locked at all times, to prevent what's going on over there on the left side there. This
is real. Do you believe this on the left? This is outside a restaurant, and this is typical
in Malibu, right?
Yeah. So like, what really gets you is like Kian has a story where she was standing next to a garbage a dumpster just like that, and Kian's explaining to the property person that you really shouldn't use these poisons, and he's standing next to this. He says, "Well, gee, what am I supposed to do? What else can I use?" It's like, close your dumpster, I mean, this was like a big discovery, right?
Yeah. See, this.
Stop breeding rodents. That's the solution. Stop breeding them.
Yeah. So there are other issues, that people do have, but this has been a major issue. And it's not just, the trash, so we've got, we do need, sometimes we do need to repel. And
Can I show them
show them
the bait box?
Just question, what is the cost of adding something like that to your trash can if you're a business versus the cost of the rodenticide? Do you know?
Well, there is a there. Okay, can people see that? This is what the bait boxes typically look like.
Yeah.
Which are things people completely ignore unless they're sensitive to them. And then once you are sensitive, you'll see them everywhere. But they're in terms of the shopping or commercial areas, they tend to be around the dumpsters because that's what's causing the problem. But in homeowners associations and in other places like office buildings, a lot of times they'll be in the foliage next to buildings. So, and the other thing is, you see at the upper left, by law, there's an actual law that says you must label the box with the actual ingredient in there. In this case, bromadiolone. Many of them, if they don't have the label, which is usually a list of poisons with one of them checked off, you see how that's checked off with that circle at the left?
Yeah.
So that tells you what's actually in there, which is very important. If you want us to help you, take a picture of the box, a very clear picture of the box label, and email it to us. And if you want to encourage your homeowners association to stop using them, or you would like to ask some store or supermarket or shopping center, we will help you if you take a picture of that label, and then we'll be happy to give you the evidence you need to convince people not to do that.
Yeah, and the thing that you must remember is that the idea is to repel, not to attract. And these bait boxes, the poison that's placed in these bait boxes are mixed with these things called flavonoids, up to 32 different flavonoids. We're talking about peanut butter, chocolate, cheddar cheese flavor. So that's why your dog wants to go after it. Let's get some dog statistics up there. You want to do some dog statistics?
Oh, wow.
So we got dogs going in there. We're losing, it smells good to them. They mix it with all of these flavonoids, so that we just had last week, one of our communities here had a dog have them call us that their dog ate a rat that showed up in their closed backyard. You see, what happens is that these mice don't die in the box. They leave the box full of poison, and they leave, and they're not in your yard anymore, but they're in your neighbor's yard, and they're poisoning your neighbor's dog. I mean, and not just the wildlife is being poisoned, because they walk around up to 10 days, these poisoned animals in a drug slow state, and easily
preferentially eaten compared to non-sick
Yeah, because they're
obviously,
nice and slow, and so they're easily eaten by our wildlife, but they're also dying in our neighbors' driveways and backyards and streets. That the dog that we've had several phone calls with dogs being poisoned from rats found in their yard, or rats along, they were just walking their dog along the street, and the dog ran up a little bit too fast ahead of them and grabbed this mouse and was poisoned by it by the time the owner came up to get it out of its mouth.
But also, I mean, dogs will eat anything, so they're very frequently victims of just eating the poison. Like they'll break into a box, or some neighbor will scatter it around their yard. This is really common with the first generation anticoagulants, diphacinone products. So the dogs will just gobble it up.
Yeah, and also,
we
I don't know if you've ever
time.
seen a raccoon manipulate things. Those raccoons are the sweetest little things. Their hands, they know how to, I think they could open up one of those puzzle boxes, I swear, if there was a treat inside. I mean, they're so clever. I saw them try to open up one of our storage containers, for scraps around, and they flipped it over, flipped it this way, looked at the edge, flipped it around again. They're very handy with their hands, and they happen to be one of the major animals that become poisoned with these boxes. They just stick their hands right in there and pull out that poison. Okay, so this is what's really going on, and it's totally not necessary. You want to talk about children a little bit? We have approximately 10,000 children a year also that are being accidentally poisoned. Because it tastes good. They make it good. So this is why we don't want to have these. We don't want to have any kind of poison around our house or around your property. It relieves you. That there's no more poisoning for my animals. There'll be no more accidental poisoning for children. You just have that safeguard, that good feeling that that's never going to happen in my home. And hopefully, we can educate our neighbors to remove it from their places too. So the idea is to repel and exclude and deter. That's what we have found is the key and answer. This common sense thoughts of, gee, how do I keep mouses away? Well, you're not going to attract them with those boxes, are you? We want to repel them. And what do mouses not like to smell? Is the stuff that I particularly like to smell is mint, lavender, rosemary, sage. There's all of these varieties of plants that you could plant around your home, and as a natural repellent, in your garden. And if you don't have a garden, you could actually you can buy the essential oils, and they have them all over. We buy peppermint oil.
Like for example, peppermint is really good. Like Kian will mention about, especially for your car, which is a big problem. But we put it in cupboards that are outside also. Peppermint, we buy 16-ounce bottle of pure peppermint for like $30. And then you water it down 20-1 and put it in a spray can and spray your car, spray whatever, wherever there's a problem.
Yeah.
Peppermint, it's amazing.
Peppermint. And, on the professional level, are they seeing this slide?
Yeah.
On the professional level, as far as repellents, but then there's other things such as the motion detector water sprays. Strobe lights work excellently. People are putting those around their whole house, even though they work excellently inside of your car engine. And we'll talk about those car engines if you'd like. We'll talk about those.
That is just what I was going to ask you. I get that question a lot. And recently, actually, I got one of those. There's something you put in your car. I haven't tried it yet, but it's like a device that you somehow put in there that's supposed to, I don't know what it's supposed to do, like send out bad energy or something.
Well, I think there's a few things.
There's a variety of things.
Yeah, there are a variety of things. So again, if you happen to have, and lucky enough to have one of these Japanese cars like we do, there's a big problem with their engine wiring.
Wire coating.
The coating, they made their wire coating out of soybeans. So through many lawsuits against Honda, they finally came up with it's like a hot pepper tape you know, that you're supposed to wrap around your wires because they made it so tasty to these to mice. I couldn't believe that they actually did that. But yes, indeed. So what we do, because we have a Toyota, Joel sprays his engine around.
I use the peppermint oil, like I said, 20-to-1 peppermint oil. On
Yeah,
buy it on Amazon, 16-ounce pure peppermint oil.
yeah.
It's like $30, and
Yeah.
it's like it makes I don't know how many gallons.
I just like to mention a few other things, though. I did go to the car dealerships out here to find out what they do with all of those cars in the road there. How do they keep any kind of rodents out? And what they use is Trader Joe's lavender laundry sheets. Yes, yes. They're real stinky. I bought some just to see because I couldn't believe that's what they use. And yes, they are real stinky, but you know, they'll put them into the glove compartment or whatever
Oh.
and the engine. And that's what they do to keep them away. And they say it works real well. Other people have used this Irish Spring soap and red pepper, etc.
I've
But
used Irish Spring soap and it's worked pretty well. Just in
so
general, like around in my garage and in areas like that.
nice.
The most
nice, good
important
to
thing,
hear.
seriously, is you really, just open up the hood depending on what your situation, you really want to check every once a week or once every few weeks because so you don't, because the really bad damage happens when you don't pay attention for a while.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
especially during the pandemic, while everyone is staying so safe at home,
Right, not driving.
probably not driving. So they should be out there opening up their hood every couple days, right?
And taking out food from your car
Yeah, food
is a
is
really important thing. Some people store, little snackies in there and stuff, that just attract them to try to get inside.
Oh my
I
gosh,
was
you
at
have kids, the granola bars alone.
I was so surprised. I went to Sequoia Kings Canyon a while ago, and as I'm going through the entrance there, paying your money, there's a big sign that says you must remove your baby seat from your car. And they show these bear pictures of the bears ripping apart the car doors trying to get to the baby seats because I guess it's all gooey with stuff. So you go to the campsites and all the baby seats are around the campfire. It's funny.
Oh my god, that's so funny. We had a situation. We had our cars parked outside and we was it in the garage? I don't even remember now, but it really doesn't matter. I went out there and we had granola bars in the car because the kids might get hungry on whatever. So it's just nice to have some there. Plus when they eat them, they're sort of everywhere, right? Well, I went out in the morning and the rats had organized the contents of the granola bars. So there were cranberries on one seat and the granola was on another seat and the nuts were on another seat.
Wow.
That's how I knew. I was like, oh, what's going on in here? Oh.
Oh my, they are clever little things. They are
Yes.
very clever
And
little
hungry,
things.
and
And
hungry.
Yeah.
so here's a few things. If you go on my website, you'll see a few more ideas there. There's like these little there's one called the grandfather, I believe it, and it's like a magnet where you put in your essential oils and then you put that in your engine too.
It holds the
it
stuff.
holds the stuff. So yeah, look on our website and you could find actually links. This is not this is from our website, but we sort of toned it down. On our website, you could have definite links. So
I love
take
it.
a look at our
Well,
website.
actually, we could have done this whole thing with our website. But here's our I just want to advertise our website. So because we really do encourage people to go look at it. So
It's poisonfreemalibu.org, is that right?
That's
yeah,
it.
on the right there, email, website, Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poisonfreemalibu.org.
Yep. And there, get to this to exclude. I'd like to talk about excluding now.
Right.
We talk about repelling with all these, oils and things, but excluding is really important. And what we do recommend is, you want to get to this picture?
I don't see it on this particular one, but that's okay.
Maybe we don't have that.
No, I'll
picture
do it. I'm going to stop sharing and bring up another one.
Yeah,
So,
you could take that from
so-
our website, maybe.
No, it's right here. I got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right here on the Repel Excluded Trash.
And I went ahead, I posted the website on the YouTube page along with the contact email. So if anyone has questions or wants to learn more or see some of the amazing things on their website, you should totally check that out.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay,
turn
here
sharing
you
back
go.
on.
Okay.
Now
And
that I
here you
found what
go.
I'm looking for.
And here you go. So we just like, this is on our website too. And we also have a little checklist for you. The checklist will be after this when you look on the website on looking around your house and what you should do to exclude them from your home. You definitely do not want to have them in your home, but you don't, outside is where they belong. Okay. But you don't want to be attracting them, such as like with bird seed. I was one of those big, before I got into this, I went down to my Home Depot and I bought all these bells. I don't know if you've ever seen them, these seed bells. Oh, I put them all over my orange tree. It looked like Christmas all year round, and all the birds would come, and it was just wonderful.
Yep.
Until I realized what was happening at night. At night, when I was at sleep, I had other visitors, so a lot of rats. So you really, the seeds left over will attract the rats and mice, maybe to an exceeding amount. So you got to watch that. What I do now is I've taken down the bells, and I take down my bird feeder, and I put out a big bowl in the morning because I love my birds and I love to see them, but I just give them breakfast. So I'll put out a big bowl for them, watch them all come down, watch them eat the breakfast, and I take it away. Okay.
I love that. That hadn't even occurred to me. That's what I tell people about feeding feral cats at night. I say, you know what? I'm not going to convince you not to do it. I already know that. So I'm just going to say, if you put it out earlier and then bring it back in, that is literally half the battle, right? Getting it back in.
That's it.
That's right in the middle of this particular graphic. It says only feed birds in a cleanable area, on an easily swept up patio, it looks like in this case. And that's perfect. Just make sure it's not out there at night.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but also sealing the building is also very important. Those garage doors, the garage doors really do need to keep that the door sweep going, in a nice tight way, because that's the way of getting in. The most popular way of getting in is these pipes that go into your house. You see these pipes and tubes like this.
Yes.
This is another which is stunning to me. We go around looking at houses and seeing where the bait boxes are and seeing what the violations would be, and I see this so many times where there's just open holes right into a building.
Tell them about the Camarillo.
That's what I'm saying. There's an open hole right into the building with pipes coming out, and right next to that is a bait box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so
tell them about the Camarillo City Hall. That's just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The bait box was right there at the we don't say which one.
Okay. Camarillo City Hall. We went to talk to them about, passing a resolution against rodenticides. So we go look around the building to see what this beautiful new building, how it's handled. And we see these holes, sort of like that. Well, a little bit, it's a new building. So they had nice pipes going in with plenty of space around the pipe for any, for a rat or mouse to get in. And we went to like 3 or 4 or 5 locations where they had these pipes coming in with plenty of and they didn't seal it well. And at every location, they had a bait box. So when we went to talk to the city, the maintenance people or the property and grounds people, we said, would you like to see what's happening on your building? And we showed them this, and they were like total shock that that's what their pest control company had done. Not even filled up the hole, which was easily done in a permanent way. It's just trivial. It costs like $3 to do that. And instead they, probably charging per box. They put boxes all over. So that guy was on our side very quickly.
So basically what we do advise is, if you do have a rodent problem inside of your house, you really have to figure out how they're getting in. And if you can't figure it out yourself, we do recommend hiring a rodent. It's called rodent proofing or rodent exclusion company, not a pest control company. A pest control company, even when you call them, you ask them, do they do exclusion from your, for the home? They'll say, yeah, they'll do exclusion, but they'll also, before they leave, try to talk you into their bait boxes, okay? Because they want to protect you and your children, you know, with their safe poisons, you know, and so it's you have to deal with that. So on our website, we found 3 rodent proofing and exclusion companies that just do their job and do it well. And some of them give guarantees for a couple of years. So yeah, it's a real good thing to do. With all of our experience, we couldn't figure out how mice were getting into our house. Believe
This
me,
is a few months
you know,
ago.
it was just, you know, we gave up, you know, and we did hire one of the guys that, you know, that we recommend, and he found it. And I'm just so grateful, you know, that it's, you know, you don't want them inside your house, but you're going to see them outside. Get used to that. You know, seeing them outside is natural. They're there. They're part of the environment. They feed. They provide food for so many of the wild animals out there. That's why there's so many of them out there. And there's different ways that you could do. You could repel them. I'd like to talk about repelling too.
Actually, this has a good.
A
This has
lot
good
of
help.
people, what they're doing now is what we're doing. Oh, you want to talk about the is that up now?
Well, yeah, this is what people see.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I was going to talk about the other one, but
Repel.
okay. So yeah, you can do this Propel. We're just talking about, you know, repelling. So what a lot of people are doing, and neighborhoods are doing, they're putting up Raptor Poles
Oh,
and
yeah,
owl
yeah.
boxes,
Oh, good,
which
good,
are
good.
it's a real fun project, you know, that you could do with your kids. And maybe, you know, some kids like to build
Or
them, you know,
schools can do it.
with supervision, of course. But I've seen some beautiful artistic owl boxes that were, you know, that were done by the, you know, the people, the children who were more artistically gifted. And it was just, they're just real. It's a really nice project to think of, to offer to do for your schools. And especially schools, they have these open areas. They have playground play areas, you know, where you don't want to be using pesticides. And here's one. I actually took this picture of a hawk. He's on top of a gopher hole there on the Malibu High School ball field.
We just happened to find it.
And he said he
checking
perched,
out Malibu High School.
he perched out there on one of these you know, perches. But if you don't have one of those perches, you can do Raptor Poles and owl boxes. There was a great study done by the Ventura County study. You want to talk about the Ventura County study?
This was a really big deal. See, Ventura County has really been pretty good over the years. Supervisor Linda Parks, of course, you know her, was a real pioneer in fighting the anticoagulants to save the mountain lions and other wildlife. But something they could not stop, according to them, was protecting their levees and dams. You know, they got, what is it, the Santa Clarita River or something? They have to control the water flow. And they had basically these dirt dikes and dams, which you can see on the left. And ground squirrels were causing this problem of building their burrows in there, which weakens the whole structure. So because of the critical nature of that, they did make an exemption in terms of their use of rat poisons, allowing it, in fact, they put it there, tons of it, lots and lots of it. Linda Parks and possibly Jefferson Wagner here in Malibu, he claims that he suggested this also to them, says, try Raptor Polls instead, because they're the natural way of controlling rodents. So what they did, they took off it says 6,000 foot stretch, a mile of one levee. They removed all the poisons. Of course, you got to do that, otherwise the hawks will get poisoned. So they took away all the poisons, and for 2 years they put in Raptor Polls that you see at the lower right and owl boxes, but the Raptor Polls were more important in this case. And they did this scientific study counting the squirrel burrows after 2 years, and there were 66% fewer squirrel burrows, not by doing nothing, but 66% less than if you use poison. In other words, it clobbered poisons and effectiveness.
Wow.
And this is like superb for open spaces,
yeah,
which includes ball fields, you know, school grounds, parks. this is really the way to go.
So a Raptor pole, that is, I have actually not heard of this. So it's a pole that a raptor can perch on in order to hunt. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep, that's about it.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
it's quite a bit simpler than an owl box, which are, cost $100 to
Oh,
make.
I'm in. Oh, this is wonderful.
Open spaces, parks, schools, homeowners association with grounds, really
Yeah.
good.
Yep, good. Okay. And yeah, so this is the big exclude. So, and
You
then
want to talk about Propel or?
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's talk about Propel. So, homeowners and you want
Homeowners,
to
okay.
go ahead, you do.
Well, this is there's a bunch of products, and we don't want to oversell this particular one. Here's like a bunch that we already showed you, but this we know a little bit more about because there's a homeowners association here. Randy Filick, her place. They really campaigned against the rat poisons, got rid of them, and they basically use Propel. And it's a repellent. It has a lot of unpleasant things that are unpleasant for rodents, but not particularly for us, although it does include rotten eggs. I don't know what that's, but it's for the outside of buildings. It's for the outside of buildings. And there's videos on it. If you Google Propel, you can see how it works. It turns out that if you just put it on the lower part of the outside of a building, rats and mice, that's where they go. They like to skim buildings, keeping really close to them, and their whiskers and fur hit it, and then they're really upset.
The main ingredients is peppermint, rosemary, and citronella oil, essential oils.
And putrescent eggs. Yeah, I looked it up.
Okay.
So it's actually quite a bit cheaper. You can apply it to every 2 to 6 months, depending on your weather and the time of year, probably. And it only for a typical house, it's $8. It's actually a bit expensive when you buy a gallon of it because it's a concentrated, so it's like $70 or $80. But that makes gallons and gallons of the stuff. That I don't know if you can buy small quantities, but you actually you water it down, you dilute it, and you spray it with a spray. That's why it's something that tends to be used by professionals who have given up rat poisons. You could definitely do it yourself, but you have to buy a sprayer, and you have to dilute it and find a big bottle. I mean, it's not a big deal.
We planted mint around our house.
But it really apparently is really effective for buildings, and it's completely safe. And we were told it's basically from the East Coast, and the guy there says there's hundreds of pest control companies that use it without any rat poison.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. And so let's talk about what is
Well, you want to talk about the non-anticoagulants?
oh yeah, let's talk about this is what we really want to talk
This
about.
is
Okay, so since such a big stink we've been making about the
let's first remind people that
yeah.
Okay, the big news last year was after 4 years of tremendous effort, started basically by us and Lisa Vianney, working with our assembly person, Richard Bloom. We accumulated a bigger and bigger coalition of people, of groups, and including money for a lobbyist, so that last year was a huge effort to get this bill through the legislature, which was really amazing since they restricted the bills due to the pandemic. Nevertheless, Richard Bloom gave this priority to it, so AB 1788. But all it does is it picks on the second generation anticoagulants, which are the most documented. And the reason they're most documented is they were the most widely used. And now that they are at least a pause or partial ban on them, the other non-anticoagulants, different products are coming to the fore. And some of them are they're actually, in some ways, they're worse. The anticoagulants are relatively slow acting, and they do have an antidote if a doctor gets you in time. But the non-anticoagulants don't. They are extremely nasty. It's amazing they even allow these to consumers at all. Bromethalin is one of them. Did you read where these kittens were orphaned because their mom?
Are they saying this?
Yeah.
The slide.
Yeah, their mom died.
Yeah.
This was a few weeks ago. They found bromethalin in this mother, P67, plus 5 anticoagulants. And she actually like starved. She was completely incapacitated and she was also sick. But obviously, the rat poison is going to contribute to her bad health, even if it wasn't the primary direct cause of poisoning. Bromethalin is popping up, and people used to claim that bromethalin didn't even get into predators. They used to say, "Oh no, if a mountain lion eats an animal that died of bromethalin, it didn't matter. It didn't transfer." No, it does.
It's
It
totally
definitely
wrong,
does.
yeah.
And that's becoming more and more obvious.
Yeah, and
Although
this
there's
is,
also direct consuming of the bromethalin too.
and you know, it's not necessarily you even get this, you know, from the pest control operators, which they'll be happy to give you in your box. You can buy
You
this
can buy
junk.
this.
It's called Tomcat, you know, at your local hardware store. Okay, so beware,
This is
beware.
unbelievably
And what
dangerous.
they'll do is
Yeah.
they put it on the package with this happy little child smiling with a little cat or dog saying, "Oh, this is put in a child-proof box."
Yep.
What?
It's put in
You
a
know,
box.
so it's supposed to be safe, you know, because they put it in some hard plastic box that some kid is not supposed to be able to get into. So it is just stunning, you know, that there's no antidote. This is extremely dangerous stuff, and they're selling it over the counter. You want to get this, the next one?
This one really is annoying for a couple of reasons. This is really popping up.
Yep.
Cholecalciferol, vitamin D3. See, such a nice name, vitamin D3. And what really is kind of ridiculous is some groups actually claim that this is organic. Okay, because it's vitamin D3, it actually comes from sheep wool. So it's actually gotten this sort of pass as being organic. Well, guess what? Strychnine is organic. It comes from tree bark. It doesn't make any difference. It's really, really bad. And here's a couple of veterinary sites. And this is one of the most dangerous mouse and rat poisons on the market and gaining in popularity because the anticoagulants are being picked on. And here's drugs.com, another veterinary source. In practice, it has been found that the cholecalciferol rodenticides, significant hazard to other animals, dogs and cats, and there's no antidote. But this is really getting popular among the pest control companies, who will totally tell you this is organic and wonderful and harmless. And you know, of course, they always call everything harmless to the pest control companies. I shouldn't say that. I should always call them poison dispensing companies. Do never say pest control companies. They are poison dispensing companies.
Yep.
And they always say whatever they use is completely safe, even if it's second generation anticoagulant or vitamin D3. It's always totally safe. They will never say anything else.
No.
So this is something we're dealing with, which is the non-anticoagulants more and more.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, what about mange? Is mange involved in rodenticide poisoning?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. So here's a bobcat den of mange. You want to talk about mange and
sure.
And Laurel Searle's work?
Seriously,
She did a five county study. Yeah.
Mange, it took them a while to pin it down, but you know, we're really lucky. We're in the Santa Monica Mountains. Okay, that's the reason we got started, and the reason we got so much knowledge, because they have this really great National Park Service team here with Seth Riley, who's also adjunct professor at UCLA, and Laurel Cerise was a grad student, and Jeff Sickage and Joanne Moriarty. We have this great bunch of people here. And therefore, we have all these studies and all these statistics. So they were finding bobcats. Bobcats don't normally get mange. It's very rare. But what was it, the early 2000s? Like they were finding all these dead bobcats, like on the right, with mange, which is a bug, some kind of mite or something, which invades the skin and makes the animal completely incapacitated and dies of starvation. And they didn't really put it all together until they tested the livers of these animals and said, oh, wow, the ones that have mange, they're the ones that have the anticoagulants in their liver. They made that correlation, even though they didn't quite know what was going on. And it got wiped out in parts of the Thousand Oaks area. The bobcats were gone. They all died of mange. And then Laurel Cerise and other UCLA students, forgot her name, did go more into the biology and chemistry of it, and did see how the anticoagulants really hurt the immune system in a way that promoted mange. So it turns out bobcats rarely die of bleeding. In other words, anticoagulant normally for the bobcat, for the coyotes and mountain lions and hawks and owls, they bleed to death. Almost all the animals bleed to death from the anticoagulants, except for bobcats. They get this first, and they die of this secondary sickness. And it is sort of an oddity. Like a few months ago, they actually found the second bobcat that actually bled to death. They've only found 2 bobcats that have actually bled to death from anticoagulants because they die of mange much more commonly. And 92% of the bobcats in this, there was like over 300 bobcats for Laurel Cerise studied in 5 counties. I mean, LA, Orange County, Ventura County, I don't know, Riverside or something.
Yeah, all around here.
5 counties. She's 300 plus bobcats. They all had, not just one anticoagulant, but multiple.
They're wiped out of the Canal Valley. Just total wipeout.
They are somewhat back. They are recovering. But there's really this tragic case in Agoura Hills a few months ago where the neighborhood had been following a particular bobcat and really fell in love with it. And then all of a sudden it's flopped, it's dead on the ground. And they're really, really upset about it. So they're definitely huge victims. But we're hearing, we occasionally get notified about a bobcat, but we in Malibu here, up at Latigo Canyon and Tuna Canyon. Oh, we're getting like every week calls about owls found dead on their driveway and hawks on a roof, and it's absolutely totally going on. I mean, so there's a lot to do. Okay, so
okay, I'd like to just put in a word about glue traps. We do not like glue traps, and please avoid. Here we go. And please avoid using them at any cost. They're very inhumane. The animals do not die. It's a slow, agonizing death. And also to never, ever use any traps outside of your home. There's no reason to use any type of traps outside of your home. It's not a good idea. Use repellents, exclude your home, and deter. That's, as I said, we've got you could deter with other type of things, such as making sure you got the
I definitely have glue traps somewhere.
Pet food. Yeah, we had the glue traps.
Absolutely.
I just had. You just had it too.
Yeah, it was up
there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You just had the glue traps.
I'm looking
up.
Again. I will find it.
You just had it up. You just had it up. Okay, so that was just the word for never ever using those glue traps. They are inhumane.
Got it.
And this is a picture of a red-shouldered hawk that got stuck in a glue trap that was placed next to a dumpster outside. Okay, and that hawk never was able to fly. So yeah, never ever use glue traps. That's one of our big requests.
Let me say, this AB 1788 that I mentioned that banned the second generation anticoagulants, that is just a temporary hold. We hope it becomes permanent, but it's now being reevaluated, what's called reevaluated by the Department of Pesticide Regulation, which is a California agency, which basically is a revolving door with the pesticide industry. And we already know that the evaluation is being led by a particular scientist who's just completely a part of the pesticide industry itself. So we are going to have a battle, in one, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, because they're going to try to bring them back. So if you want to help with our campaign to ban all the rat poisons, send us an email, get on our list. We'll notify you of when we need you. That's how we passed AB 1788, by the way. We had a huge we had incredible, like dozens of groups and thousands of people writing emails. And, we hear this all the time.
So
I mean, we attend a lot of city council meetings and stuff like that. it always comes up, how many people wrote in emails, how many people care about this. It's directly matters. Every email, it's really amazing.
And where we'd like to go from here is not just that, but we were looking to end preemption. And preemption is where the pesticide industry created a law for themselves. Do we have a slide on preemption?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. So you want to talk about preemption?
Well, I do have a line in one of the slides. Let's see.
Okay, so
Yeah, why is it so hard to regulate this?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
okay, so
The reason it's so hard, I mean, we went around to, 12 towns, mostly surrounding the Santa Monica Mountains, but even including Simi Valley and Moore Park, and,
Yep.
and they came out, all those city councils voted to oppose the use of anticoagulant rodenticides. And then, like, they're baffled. Everybody's baffled by, oh, good, let's ban this stuff. But what happened was that there is a state law forbidding localities, cities and counties from regulating pesticides in any way, shape, or form. Okay, you want to hear the story? Should I say this?
yeah, no, you got to say
Okay.
this story. This is the preemption. This is where
It's called
where
preemption.
we want to focus all of our attention on. We're going to move forward with this, and this is the solution on how to get poisons out of
it'll
our
help a lot.
communities. This will really
Well,
help.
it helps for
Right.
communities that care, but
Yeah.
the ones that don't care, they
They could have as many
they
poisons
can have
as
as
they
much poison
want.
as they like.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'll tell you, ironic outcome of that. But anyway, that's called preemption. It occurred in the late 80s because Mendocino County was upset that their children were being sprayed by herbicides on some farm next to some school or something. So they passed a law banning that. And they were sued by agriculture and pesticide industry. And Mendocino County won. It went several stages to the California Supreme Court. Mendocino County won. Pesticide industry lost. So the pesticide lobby went to the state legislature and bought a special law for themselves, reversing the California Supreme Court decision. That is called preemption. And it was just pure brute force money. And that's why they can't do anything about it. So ironically, we went, Malibu, the city of Malibu helped us a few years ago. There is an organization of all the California cities called the League of California Cities, and it meets in Long Beach every September. And Malibu put in for a resolution from this league saying, let's get rid of preemption. Let's reverse preemption, get rid of it in regards to anticoagulant rat poisons. And like, there's all kinds of cities. There's you got Fresno in there, you got you got Bakersfield, you got everything. And it has to go through 3 stages, a resolution vote. The environmental committee, the committee that considers resolutions, the resolution committee, and then everybody.
Right.
The whole, and each of these committees has like 30 or 40 different cities represented. So we presented to them, and everybody was for it. The most conservative agricultural communities were really for getting rid of preemption. Why? Because first of all, they did ask, can we use poisons just as we are? And we said, yes, absolutely. Preemption means you can totally just go along with the state. Said, we're for it. We're really for getting rid of preemption if we can do what we want, because we hate state control. Okay. So there's a lot of people who, including us, that for other reasons.
And communities like us, who don't want any poisons in their community.
We can do that too.
We can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why we have to get rid of this law. We're looking to find a legislator to help support it.
We need a bill. We need a bill.
We need to have a bill. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And then the league has already committed to helping us lobby. They will be a lobby group for it, which is fantastic. That's we're sort of recovering from maybe 1788, but this is going to be our next thing.
yeah.
It may not be very hard because the support is so awesome for this thing,
Right.
but it's really frustrating. It's so confusing because everybody, like, people in Agoura or Westlake Village will say, wait a minute, I saw this rat poison at the shopping center. I thought it was banned. So we have to explain over and over and over. No, it's just a resolution asking people, although the city itself does stop using it on their own property. That is not a problem. So these resolutions say, we, Moore Park or Camarillo, we will not use rat poisons on our property. Fine. And we ask everyone else not to use it.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, but we're dealing with these pesticide industry. This is big advertising. So it's so important that we educate. This is our whole stand, is to educate. We ask everybody else out there to educate, to pass on the word that there's other ways to do it. It's difficult. For example, here in Malibu, we had one chain store come into town. And when they came into town, they brought their poison bait boxes with them. There was no problem. They had no issue.
It was a clothing store.
It was a clothing store too, where they had no food inside, and they surrounded their entire building with poison bait boxes of the worst kind, because that's what they did. And they got some contracts, from some pesticide company saying that, oh, we have to protect your building of some nonsense like this, and they just slapped these things down everywhere, as you see everywhere. So we had to work to educate them, to contact, we contacted the corporation, and explained to them they must please remove these boxes.
Tell the story, how you started. Go ahead. This is a really good story about Urban Outfitters.
Well,
you want to say it?
Well, it's just that what that we asked them to do it. And
no, that it went nationwide.
So
this is a good story.
So we did finally educate them. We finally did.
Well, they did nothing. The local store would do nothing. And then finally,
we did contact.
Well, why did they contact?
We decided to have a protest.
We had a riot. we had like 20 or 30. We had signs. We were going to go march.
We couldn't believe it. I've been writing them polite letters over and over again. A couple
of years.
Just saying, please remove them, with no response. And I'm thinking, well, this is ridiculous. I mean, everybody loves this store, and and I'm getting no response. And once word got out that this store that everybody likes, has these boxes that they wouldn't remove, it really, people got riled up here. And I says, okay, let's take all that energy and go to the store and say we don't agree with your policy to bring
with signs,
to bring poisons into our town. Yeah, we got the kids, we got the dogs, we got the signs.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. And then when they heard that was going to happen, because I did warn them, I says, this Saturday we're coming by. We notified the press. I says, the press is going to be notified, and we will have a protest march in front of your store this coming Saturday. And I said, okay, that's it. We tried to be as polite as we could. And then shortly thereafter, I got a phone call from Philadelphia, one of the top guys there, top
vice presidents of the whole company.
The whole company said that you were talking to the wrong person. I'm sorry, we didn't get the right message, and we will remove them not only from the store in Malibu, but we will remove them from all of the stores.
Every store in the country.
So you see, good things happen. So, by educating and politely educating, you can get upset, but don't let that energy go into that vortex of being upset, that kind of energy, that angry energy. Take that and make it more of a wonder, like, wow, you mean you didn't understand about these poisons? Instead of getting angry about how horrible it is, make it sort of a wonderment as a point of educating the person.
But these guys did react to gentle, clear pressure, because these are consumer stores. The last thing they want on earth is to people to think badly of them. So we did have to say, okay, we tried for 2 years at least. And now we're going to politely pick at your store. No Molotov cocktails. But that's pressure. You see, that is real pressure.
Yeah.
and it worked.
And then what I did is,
That's a lesson.
since he called me, this was like Friday, and everything's set for the next day. I mean, I got a lot of people coming, got the signs, everything is happening. It's like, I can't call off, the press is going to be there and stuff. So I said, listen, I says, I can't call it off. But what I'm going to do is, I says, it's impossible. I says, it's in the role. I says, but what I'm going to do is, I says, I'm going to make it an award ceremony. So what I did is, the press, we all marched to the store because everybody was all riled. I made the announcement, to everybody, before we marched. I says, I made up a nice little plaque of thank you for removing the poison boxes and understanding that you can prevent rodent control without poison. You're a good hero of our neighborhood, and thank you. So I made it into a thank you, appreciation, thank you. Got a picture for the press on that. They liked it. We liked it. Everybody liked it. So it was a win-win at the end.
That is literally a Hallmark movie. I hope you sell that. That is
Absolutely
almost too good to be true. That's
Aaron Brockovich, Kian here.
I love that. Oh my
do,
goodness.
but we really do. I mean, some of our supporters do get too riled up. I mean, do not touch a bait box. People like they're so horrified by it. I understand it. So some people grab them and throw them away. I mean, number one, don't do anything illegal. Don't trespass. And number two, these things are really awful objects that you don't want to touch.
The poisons that are in there are terrible, and your skin is transparent. That's why I say, the poisons that are in the air that we breathe, the water we drink, the food that we eat, and also it gets absorbed through our skin.
You don't want to touch this
our
stuff.
Skin is like, I like to imagine people, we're living in a bowl of like Jello, where everything is in contact. There's no separation. Okay, so the air around us that we breathe, the products, the cleaning products that we use around our house. I want you to go underneath that sink and if you can't pronounce the ingredient list, get rid of it. Okay, you got lots of natural detergents and ingredients that could help you make your life cleaner and happier. It's not just rodent poisons. We went for Malibu. We have a pesticide-free, earth-friendly management policy where we removed all pesticides, not just rodent poisons. Okay, so our lawns, our playgrounds, it's pesticide-free. We used to have neurotoxins, endocrine disruptors, and cancer-causing agents just to kill weeds on our playground areas. Okay, that's what was happening in Malibu, and what's happening probably in your schoolyard too. So, and in your community playgrounds, so parks and such. So just take a look of what they're using, request that they don't use them anymore. We requested here in Malibu that they stop using these chemicals that your kids are playing on, that they're rolling on, that your pets are rolling on, you're having picnics on. You don't want that junk. You don't need that junk. And there's ways to prevent those wonderful things called weeds that people don't like seeing. But a few weeds, it doesn't, a few dandelions here and there when you're not using an endocrine disruptor, I think it's worth it.
I call them native plants myself.
There you go. There you go. That's the way to do it too. So go organic. That's our last, suggestions here, is that it's so essential that you eat organically. There's a great website that's on our website that I really enjoy. It's from PAN, the Pesticide Action Network. And it's called What's, with an S, whatsonmyfood.org. And what they've done is they made an A to Z list. And say, for example, if you want to eat an apple, And if you don't eat organic, they did an organic and a non-organic apple. So the non-organic apple, they'll make a list of all the pesticides that are sprayed on that apple, which could be approximately 42 pesticides that are sprayed on your apple that you have in front of you, compared to an organic apple that has no spray. Okay, so you go down the list to see what are these pesticides that I'm eating, that I'm feeding. And, you know, I mean, you have to look at your total health that of what's happening out there. It's a shame how all of our food supply is being poisoned. When we tried to pass our assembly bill, we were told right from the start that we had to excuse big ag, because the chemical industry and big ag are married. And if you try to stop us, we'll stop you first. Okay, so so they're allowed to use all the poisons they want on our food.
They were exempted
Okay,
right from the
so
beginning.
you know, eating organic, being as clean as possible around your house, getting rid of all those dyes, get rid of those plastic pillows. You know, you just got to clean up your house of all of these chemicals, and look to more of a natural way, you know, of dealing with issues. You know, as there, I've got a lot of good hints on the website, like for ants. You know, we could use, instead of that Raid bottle, you know, grab a lemon, you know, and
Well, peppermint
squeeze
is
it,
for ants.
squeeze it
I
on,
use
you
the same
know,
peppermint.
ammonia. You know, there's so many different little ways to not use those pesticides around your home. So take a look for different hints on our website.
Yeah, I mean, we hear a lot of people talk about ants. I don't know. I mean, we definitely get ants. They just don't seem to be that hard to deal with. I mean, again, I use that same dilute peppermint spray. I go and I actually do find out, you know, the little holes or cracks that they're coming in at. And if I go outside my house, if I'm lucky, I can actually see where they're coming in from the outside. It's just not that hard.
Well, I
With
tell you,
peppermint.
I
Yeah,
have a different strategy. I give them what they want. I always give my animals what they want
outside. You're right.
outside.
Yep,
So
yep.
when it gets real hot,
great.
then they come in a couple days of the year. I mean, and it's always when it's hot. So I think it must
We
be.
had a big ant problem. It was really, really hard to deal with. They kept finding new ways to come in, and
Yeah, it's not just hot with other people.
Oh, was it during the heat?
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
The same
I mean,
thing. The
it could
same
take a
thing
few
with us.
days. I
Yeah,
mean, I agree, it
took a
could take a few days, but yeah. Well, then when it cools off, the problem goes away.
It goes away by itself when it cools off. That is for
That's
sure.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing about what people can do that really is important. Kian did mention it. We already mentioned it. But especially if you want to do something at the city level, like I said, these resolutions are good and they're really good for publicity, even though they cannot actually ban pesticides. But it's something that that's got to be done when you ban the rodenticides. Is this dumpster issue? It's huge in commercial areas, in shopping centers, in schools. If you get rid of the rat poison, you've got to seal and keep the dumpster clean. It is the whole story. And almost any municipality or county actually already has a law saying that, which is completely ignored. I mean, it's totally ignored. So what we did in Malibu is we did two things. We said, not only, because Malibu definitely has a problem with homeless and with unauthorized access and people actually dumping stuff in the dumpsters that they're not supposed to. So the two features that really make it effective is, number one, require locks on the dumpsters and that the dumpsters be locked. Yeah, it's a little bit of effort for the people who are using the store. Absolutely. But that's what it takes to get rid of rats. And number two, have very clear fines. First offense, $100 a day. Second, there's got to be fines. And then the third thing, which is up to the citizens, is a way to report what you get a bunch of activists and you don't need that many, 10 people in a city would do it. Start reporting when they see a sloppy dumpster to the enforcing. That's it. You got to do that. It's not a big deal. And after a little bit of fines or reporting, people, the stores like to obey the law. It turns out they just have to be incentivized a little bit.
And then they probably see that, oh my goodness, my life just got easier and I saved some money.
Yep. So dumpster ordinances, contact us if you want details. We have an ordinance that just went through last June in Malibu, and it's really important.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. We have had so much fun tonight and learned so much. And I just love the stories too. They're actually my favorite part of having a chat with you guys. And it's nice to see your faces again. And so again, so for anybody who's watching, we don't have any questions. So obviously you must have been amazingly clear. So, but I went ahead, I put the website in the chat and also the contact information. I also shared the whatsonmyfood.org because we can look at that later if we're interested in that. And if you liked this, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And if you think this information is interesting and you would like more of it, we would love to bring you more, and we can let you know when we're live, which is twice a week, and if you subscribe. So please subscribe for more awesomeness like this. And again, thank you guys so much. And I'm gonna wave goodbye to everybody out there. And then there's like a 20-minute delay. So a 20-second delay. And I will end the stream. I'm gonna pause my recording and I will end the stream.
Thank you so much for
what's the name of your YouTube channel or whatever it's called?
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
You better subscribe to Ringa Ranch.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have to go look at our own YouTube.